Good morning, everyone. I'm going even a little extra early today. In case you're not sure who you're watching, I'm Kathy Hester, and welcome to my kitchen. Today, we're going to do an unboxing of my current favorite, at least, imperfect produce delivery. It's been really great getting produce delivered straight to the house, especially doing the new normal. So what I'm going to unbox for you at misfitmarkets.com is the name of one place where they rescue this imperfect produce. There are other places as well, like Hungry Harvest. I think there's one called Imperfect Produce, and a whole bunch of other places. Good morning, Miss Anita, and good morning, Susan. And she's going to try watching while she cooks lunch. Excellent. I recommend that highly. Let me see if I can arrange things a little bit over here to make it easier for me. As you're coming on, tell me hello. Tell me where you live. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me what your favorite vegetable is today. So back to Misfit Market. So it's something you can get it weekly or bi-weekly. You can get a large box or a small box. I get a big box weekly. It's $35 for what's in the box plus $5 shipping. I have a code somewhere, what platform you're watching in. There is something that gives you my code and a link to Misfit Market. If you haven't ordered from them before, you can get 25% off your first box. All the produce is organic. So I find it a pretty good deal. It's a good value for the money, really. Hi, Michelle, and I love that you're calling from England. Thank you. And Susan is in Georgia, and it's sunny there. Claybear LeBlanc, my brother in Louisiana. He's not my physical brother, but he's my spiritual brother. And Steve says good morning. Oh no, sorry, it's Susie. There were a couple of names there. This is Susie from Monticello, Florida. Can't wait to see what you got. Deborah says hi. FedEx just this minute delivered my Misfit too, so maybe we'll have some of the same stuff. That's really cool. Okay, so for those of you, someone already pointed this out when I posted my picture. I hope you disinfected that box. Well, of course we did. A. B. Cheryl actually has been wiping down all our boxes with a disinfecting wipe, and then I let this one sit overnight. So if some of the greens don't look as fresh as they did yesterday, that is not Misfit Market's produce fault. That is mine. Okay, so I've got some strawberries. Those look pretty good. Let me set these way over here. I did order some extra chocolate stuff. So for Cheryl and I. Hi, Allison. Let me show you this. So I got some dark bark and a toffee. And believe it or not, this toffee is not with dairy. So I got that for Cheryl. That was her front. Hi, Joanne. Thanks for joining. It's a little damp again. I left these. So these I paid extra for. So I'll set these over to the side. And I think I paid extra for the strawberries too, so I'll move them. I'm looking for, here we go, a little wipe. Because I want you to see what I got that I paid for. So I got some romaine. And it could be that these edges were a little miscolored before they stayed out, but chances are it's my fault. Right? I'm just going to cut a little bit of that off. It's still super good eating. So let's get that there. 2 big things of romaine. I got 2 lovely things of curly red kale. Let me show you just how big these are. It's the head test. Is it bigger than Kathy's head? Yes. Yes. Woo! Score on the curly red kale. I like that. It's just a lot. And someone was asking me what I would do to store some of the produce and some of the things. And then I have 2 things of curly green kale. not quite as big as my head, but these are packed pretty tight. I still feel good about them. I feel very good, in fact. Let me see how we're doing with what space I got here. So I like to try and at least give you a shot of as much stuff in there as I can. Okay. Then, this is a greens heavy box I got here. 2 things of collards. And unfurled, these will be as big as my head, but furled up, they're not. These are really good size right now for wraps. So, hello. There we go. So those would be good to make like little sandwich wraps or something like that. And Jen says hi from Delaware. Hello, Jen. Let's see if I can keep this sort of wiped off. Okay. I also got some extra cilantro. And no, actually that was within my box. I got cilantro. This is a nice big size bunch, honestly. Cilantro is great, and it's great in Mexican food and Thai food and Indian food, so you can do a lot with it. I know some people are predisposed to not like cilantro and taste like soap to you. You could have ordered parsley, so don't feel left out. The world is still fine. And as always, we've got this little Enviro ice bag, and it says it's a drainable gel that you can put down. Actually, let me let you see this again. And it can be plant food. So that's kind of cool. And I think that they're always really kind of thinking of new cool things. Okay, I will say my eggplant isn't looking super awesome. Oh, actually, I think it's more scarring. I thought it was maybe bad, but I think it's more scarring. And we talked about this a little bit last time too. And so with green beans especially, sometimes scarring and where it's getting a little bit bad, it's hard to tell just by looking at them. But if you touch it, if it's soft and kind of squishy, and it makes you make this face, that means that's a part you should break off. But like this feels really firm too. It's a good way to tell on lots of things. So if this was a bad spot, instead of scarring, it would feel soft. So I was nervous that this was not going to be such a good eggplant, and I think now it is a perfect eggplant that just has scarring, which makes it imperfect produce. Think about that for a while. It might make your head hurt. So I think I may only have one of these guys. I'm going to pull out some apples, red delicious apples. See, I've got 5 of these. I wanted to go back for some apples today. I have some apples that you guys have been seeing in the background that have been slowly deteriorating and are going to get turned into applesauce. I did also get, ooh, this one says blood. No, it's Cara orange. I don't know what I was saying. So Cara oranges are the ones, when you cut them open, they look a little bit like pink grapefruits. But they're not. They're like a really sweet, delicious, almost less acidic orange. So they're really good. You could make just like a mocktail with this. We made some margarita mix with ours. So I used the Vitamix. I took the peel off of 2 large Cara oranges. These are kind of small. They're kind of fist size. The other ones were pretty big. And then I took any seeds out, cut it in pieces, threw it in the Vitamix, along with like 4 limes that I peeled, cut, and used all the pulp and everything with some water. And you could use simple syrup or put the sweetener of your choice in there. You could also put some fresh mint in there and kind of make it like a mock mojito. So that's something else you can do with some of this stuff. Okay. Some of my favorite Brussels sprouts. Oh, more chocolate. I got 2 dark toasted coconut. So some of these are going to get hidden, and Cheryl's gone, so they can be hidden really easily. But we do pretty well if we're able to have just a little bite of something every once in a while. It helps us stay away from like the super intense sugar fiend things that we might normally go for. Now there are two more things that I ordered separate that are not included in the $35. So I'm just trying to be real specific so you don't think I got the cereal. Mighty Tasty Hot Cereal makes me think of my friend Faith C., who could possibly be watching this. She was stalking me the other day, but she doesn't seem to be stalking me today. It's gluten-free, and it's got brown rice, corn, sorghum, and buckwheat. And it looks a lot like grits. So I haven't had this yet, but I'm really excited. I think it's going to be like grits, but with a little more nutrition, possibly a little more flavor as well. Oh, Cheryl's watching. Cheryl, how are you watching? You're not even at work yet, are you? And then I got some sea salt that I thought was a little larger than this, but it's fancy sea salt because I have been wanting to try and do some fermenting, but I haven't quite got there. But now I have some sea salt, so I could try a little mini jar. And oh, and here's the other half of my Brussels sprouts because they don't play. And these Brussels sprouts here, I'll let you look at them. They look really, really good. And they're big. So what I usually do with Brussels sprouts anyhow is I slice them because Cheryl wouldn't eat any kind of cabbage or greens when we first got together. So the way I was able to get her to eat Brussels sprouts is, it used to be at Trader Joe's you could get some shredded Brussels sprouts, and you could shred these in your food processor. Cut off the real thick end. Let me open this up. So like, this is a giant one. You can see that from here. I cut this end off, and you could just put it through the food processor like that and end up with shreds. And Claibor's asking what this cost. It was $35 plus $5 shipping. And everything's organic. That's why I'm saying, I mean, it's a really good deal because sometimes, like, organic kale can be several dollars a bundle, or organic collards. Certainly organic fruit seems to be quite expensive where I am in North Carolina. It's going to vary depending on what part of the country you're in. I do not know if Misfits Market in specific is in Louisiana. You'll have to look up. They're moving to more places. And some places you get just surprise boxes. I was actually able to pick these things, and because I'm middle-aged, it still gets to be a surprise. I always forget whatever I ordered. I order it like the email comes out, and I'm dashing in there, getting whatever I want, and then it's not a thought in my head. Yeah, Claybert said it is really amazing. Usually the boxes are heavy like this. Sometimes it's a little bit lighter, so you have to realize, I think they're promising 18 to 22 pounds of produce for that, though, which is really awesome for organic produce. And Shirley says hello from south coast of the UK. Oh, all you guys in the UK. I can't wait till I get to visit there because I'm such a Harry Potter head. I want to go see all the Harry Potter stuff in the UK. That's our dream vacation. And Michelle says it all looks delicious, but Brussels sprouts are my favorite. And there's still more, you guys. We're not done yet. Let me let you see overhead a little bit, okay? And again, let's see if I can get these in there. We've got one eggplant, but we do have a whole bunch of Brussels sprouts in there. The things that are not showing in this screen, like the berries and some of the other things, they are not included in the $35. And Susan says her CSA box starts next week, and she is beyond excited. And they've gone to great lengths to keep us all safe. And that's a good point, too. One of the things that made me fall even more in love with Misfit Market is they did send us out something explaining how they were disinfecting things and what all was going on in that process. They also chose to give their workers a raise to help pay for childcare, and they were feeding them by buying food at like lunch food while they were working, buying it at local restaurants to help support them. So that made me like them a little bit more. Yeah, Shirley says she loves Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are amazing. Okay, so I've got more fruit. I've got a couple of lemons. Okay, this one lemon does, and I think I paid extra for these actually because they're pink lemons. There's a little bit of smudge there, but not enough for me to take a picture of this and ask for a refund. I'm just going to cut that off and use it, possibly to make some sort of, again, go with my cocktail. And Clayberry just checked, and they're not in LA, but they might in LA, Louisiana, but they might be coming. So if they let you sign up, do. I ordered a head of cabbage, and I have a head of Savoy curly, beautiful cabbage. Head test, pretty darn close to as big as my head. That's pretty. That's really, really pretty. Okay, now you see how things kind of get piled up there. Okay, and I have more apples. I ordered a couple of different kinds of apples. These aren't marked, so I honestly don't remember. Let me put that there. Yeah, but I think organic produce can be sometimes prohibitively expensive. And I understand the reason. There's more loss, there's all kinds of stuff, but this is great that it's so much. And it's so easy to get. Oh, there's another red delicious. Let's put him over here with his friends. We don't want them to get lonely. Okay. I have just a few little Yukon Gold potatoes. Okay. And I have a minuscule, teeny, tiny thing of cauliflower. That is definitely not as big as my head. It is teeny, but you know, this will still make an awesome cauliflower cheese sauce. You can get that recipe over on plantbasedinstantpot.com and just put it with a couple of carrots for color. You can leave it and make it a white queso instead of an orange queso. Leave the carrots out. A couple of teaspoons of cashews. And I use some different spices in there, like jalapeno powder and chipotle powder and guajillo powder, but you could use just plain chili powder. Remember, this is eating in the time of quarantine. We can make substitutes. Now, if you live my life, it's always time for substitutes. So what I'm going to do as soon as I get off of this video is I'm actually going to put all the stuff in the sink. I'm going to make sure one of the sinks is very, very clean. I'm going to put a couple of small drops of unscented dish detergent. You could use a scent, especially if it's like lemon. I would not use Mrs. Meyer's scents, which are very perfumey. It should wash off, but you know. Then I'm just going to let everything soak for a little while. I'm going to rinse it off, dry it off, and then store it. So that's what my plan is. So do you guys have any questions about the produce? And let me let you again. And I know it looks so small for the overhead camera, but from like here to out there are a few feet. Like I can barely reach it. So it's significant. And Peggy uses lemon essential oil. I am not a doctor, a scientist, or a public health worker. So let's get that out there right now. I've been trying to read about different things about what people think you should do. The one thing that's constant with all is they feel like you should rinse off your produce. Second would be that vinegar does not kill the coronavirus. Does that mean you can't put it in vinegar? No. Supposedly, the food that we eat should be safe, but again, I'm not a doctor or scientist, public health worker. So I, like you, I'm just trying to gather all the information. So I feel good about putting a little soap. I know soap helps it when I'm washing my hands. I can't imagine it couldn't help with this. It doesn't hurt your produce as long as you rinse it off really well. And Leah says, where did I get it from? Misfitsmarket.com. Misfits, plural, market.com. And there's a link that's attached to this video. Depending on what platform you're watching it, it could be up, down, to the side. And if you have not gotten a Misfit Market box yet, you can get 25% off using the code that I gave you. And Teresa says, how do you store your greens? Do you put the apples and citrus in the fridge? I do not put the apples and citrus in the fridge. Though putting the apples in the fridge is not a bad idea. It definitely will make it last a lot longer. Um, so I would say that's a good thing to do. With the greens, one of the things that I will often do, so let's see. So like some of these kale stems are big, so I might take some of the kale stems off. I'm going to wash and dry these because of everything we're going through right now. Normally I might not. Sometimes I do, and I go ahead and tear them apart and have them ready so I can just reach in, get my container, and throw them in the pan. That is not a bad thing to do. It's like, you know, sometimes I talk about the presents you can do for yourself, like unloading the dishwasher. Then later on, you're like, oh, who unloaded the dishwasher? That was so awesome. Now I can put this right in. So these are like these little tiny micro presents you can give yourself. So as long as these stay a little bit damp, they'll last a week in the fridge. I know some people say they don't last quite that long, and I push things. So I'll be the first one to say that. But you can always have a Ziploc or any kind of resealable container. There's some, I don't have any of my resealables for produce in particular over here, but I have some of those as well. I'll put that in there. If you're using a resealable plastic bag, sometimes you can put a barely moist, or if your greens aren't quite all the way dry, just put a dry towel in there, and that will help keep them moist. You don't want it to be soggy though, because if it's soggy, mold will grow. Does that make sense? And Marie says, is it all organic? Yep, absolutely every single thing is. Everything you see here is organic from Misfit Market. Hungry Harvest has the option to do organic or not. And Max says, hello, he feels left out now that he's finished his treaty treat. So he's not dying, he's just begging. So don't worry, those of you who are new. And Deborah said, I got a beautiful box, but the freezer gel had a hole in it and it leaked all over everything. I wonder if I can just rinse it off and still use the produce. I'm going to email them too. Here's what I would say probably. I don't know for a fact, but if this is plant food and it can go down the gel, let's see if it says do not eat, but we don't want to eat fertilizer either. Why don't you check back and let us know? Because, yeah, it doesn't say anything about that. I would assume, and again, it's better not to assume. We've all seen that episode of The Odd Couple. But I think if you wash it with some soap, it should probably be okay. But please let us know what they tell you, and if they tell you any specific steps, even if you just want to email me and I'll shout it out at kathyhester@gmail.com. Yeah, and Susan says, heard my baby whining. Yeah, Maxie, Cheryl had to go into work again because she also does a lot of troubleshooting help desk things, so she's fixing somebody's computer today. And Theresa says, hi, Max. And Max says, thank you for noticing me. I'm so sad and lonely. He's not. He's doing fine. But yeah, Deborah, I would suspect everything could just still be fine. Yeah, please do tell me. It is a great box, and I would be shocked. If it can be used for fertilizer, I can't imagine that it couldn't be washed off. But yeah, I hope you can too. And also, if they say you can't, ask them to credit you for the box. And that's one thing. I do have a post on healthyslowcooking.com about imperfect produce boxes and if they're for you. Because one of the things you have to realize, so this produce gets packed by Misfits, and then it goes to UPS or FedEx or someone like that, and then it gets shipped to you. So during that time, something can happen. They could lose it. It could, the produce could go bad, right? Something could happen outside of Misfit Market's control. that's a good word, isn't it? Control. Something I don't have a whole lot of right now in my life. So they also don't have control of the produce like until it gets to your door. But what they will do is if you take pictures and let them know, it'll be very disappointing if you get a bad box or if you get something that isn't so good. Like if there was more than a tiny little speck on here that didn't look good, I would take a picture of it, send it to them, and ask them to credit it or to take it off on my next one. And that's all. And they totally will do that. Do you guys have any other questions? As I see a lot of new people are on today. Yeah, Deborah says their customer service is great, and I think they're awesome. I do know someone who got it was very upset and wanted like immediate action, and I think it was in the evening, and they're not going to probably respond to you at 7 o'clock at night. You're probably not going to get a response until the next day, but I've never had, I've had Hungry Harvest credit me before. I've had, there was another service I was using, so most of these services are well aware that things can happen. So I think I still feel great about ordering it. I've gotten some things that I've lost an onion or half an onion or something like that, but I still feel like for $35, it's like a steal. If I went to Whole Foods and got all this organic produce, I'd be surprised if it was under, $70 or $80. I haven't done a one-to-one comparison, so maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I have to say. And once again, ooh, ah. And these could make some really beautiful cabbage rolls. That could be really good, or some cabbage and apple cooked together. There's just all kinds of things you really can do with this. It's just pretty good. So I think I'm going to sign off for now unless you guys have some more questions. As always, it's a hard time. Be sure you're taking good care of yourself. Eat your vegetables and fruits. Drink lots of water. Get enough sleep. Do some kind of movement. Even if it's cleaning out your refrigerator, which is my least favorite thing to do of all things. Or take a walk if you live in an area where you can. Be helpful when you can help somebody. And be kind to yourself and to other people, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.